Breaking news out of Rogers County. Firefighters battling a massive fire in an industrial park area. 2 News working the phones to bring you the latest on what caused the fire.
Plus, a breaking news update to a fire at London Square Apartments, which killed 2 children and displaced dozens. How soon they'll be able to go home.
And we have continuing coverage of the devastation in the Midwest. How communities are helping each other pick up the pieces. You're waking up to what's new on this November 19th.
2 News Works for You starts right now.
And good morning. I'm Justin Wilfont.
I'm Brianne Pomerini. The time now 5:58. A beautiful day yesterday.
It was nice.
Hopefully another one in store today. We better enjoy it while we can, right, George?
Hey, Brianne. Hey, Justin. Yes, enjoy the weather while we have it, as we'll be turning much colder later in the week. But for now, a quiet start to the day. Cool but not bad out there. We're at 50 degrees, southeast wind at 10 miles an hour. You'll probably want the jacket this morning, as it is a little cool. Also, I want to point out, if you're traveling south of McAllister, we are tracking a small patch of showers. This is near the Red River and also south of Wilburton. The small area of rain is making its way eastward, and it will be moving into Arkansas, so that rain will avoid Tulsa. But if you are traveling south today, south and southeast, be gradually driving into that rain. Otherwise, a mix of sun and clouds when the sun comes up this morning. Out at the bus stop today, probably want the jacket, but again, not overly cold. Upper 40s here in town and breezy and mild. Lower 60s this afternoon.
Hey, we're going to take another check for your Tuesday morning traffic. We're in pretty good shape out there. We're going to take a live look. This is on I-44. This is pretty close to Sheridan as we zoomed in just a little bit. Well, there is our downtown cam, which is showing you the Sand Springs Expressway way off in the distance. There we go. There's I-44, and you can see that traffic slowly picking up. We're still seeing a good commute out there. No accidents being reported.
We are following some breaking news out of Rogers County right now. We've learned that fire crews from Verdigris and Claremore, as well as sheriff's deputies, are on the scene of a large fire in an industrial area. The Claremore Fire Department tells 2 News the building that's on fire belongs to a company called Upco, which makes steel rods. An internet search says the facility is about 140,000 square feet. Now, there is no word on whether anyone's been hurt. We do have 2 News reporter Joe Hankey on the way to the scene. We'll bring you more information as we learn it.
2 News working overnight to bring you the latest on that deadly apartment fire in South Tulsa. Right now, we can tell you police are looking for the parents of the 2 children who died. 2 News reporter Patricia Santos live at the London Square Apartments this morning with the latest on this latest twist. Patricia?
Well, police telling us that the hospital released that mother without getting her contact information this morning. They want to catch up with her to find out what happened. Her 2 children killed at this apartment right behind me during a fire. Now, this complex is located just off of 61st and South Lewis. This morning, police telling 2 News that the apartment they were living in is under a different name, so the complex doesn't have any contact information either. Now, the 2 little girls, 18 months old and a 5-year-old, are believed to have been left alone here at the apartment. Efforts to save them failed. The fire started around 3 yesterday, and it sent people running to safety, but the 2 children inside were trapped. Now, a witness reported seeing one of the kids badly burned. Neighbors who risked their lives by going in to search for them say they were motivated by the desperate cries of a mother.
We actually had to drag the mom out. Bless her heart, she wanted to go back in, but she couldn't have helped them if she was dead too.
She ended up passing out in the courtyard from the smoke.
Those children died at St. Francis Hospital this morning. Police want to find that mother. I just got off the phone with the police, and they tell me that as of 2 this morning, they had not been able to find her. They believe that she might be staying with relatives, but they don't know where. Live in South Tulsa, Patricia Santos, 2 News works for you.
And families displaced by the fire at London Square Apartments are hoping to return home today. Firefighters tell us 5 apartments were either damaged or destroyed. The smell of smoke fills the air and several others. One woman told us even though she can't sleep in her home, her thoughts are still with the mother of those children.
I know she's hurting. I would hurt, you know. I know she's hurting, and I pray for her.
Firefighters still investigating what started that fire, and 2 News is working to bring you the latest information about this story. Be sure to check in for the newest details on our mobile app and on our website, KJRH.com. We'll also have another live report coming up in our next half hour.
Well, happening today, a National Weather Service team returns to some of the most heavily damaged areas following Sunday's tornado outbreak. They're trying to determine exactly how many tornadoes there were. Right now, that number exceeds 24. An eerie silence has settled across the strike zone this morning, but that silence will soon give way to families, returning to sift through the splintered remnants of their lives, scattered for miles by more than 50 tornadoes that cut a deep path across at least a dozen states.
This is hard to look at. This is once our community.
Washington, Illinois, a community ravaged by a massive twister that ripped open a path 5 miles long and 1/10 of a mile, destroying hundreds of homes.
Probably that it happened at church time where we had people not in their homes. Helped out a little bit.
But not nearly enough. Everywhere you look, it's impossible to escape the evidence of the tornado's fury and the raw emotions of what so many across the region have been through.
I was just waiting for it to bust through that wall at any second.
And take you with it.
Yep. And then just like that, it was over.
And while the storms have passed, make no mistake, the tragedy is still far from over. The cleanup only just begun.
And we will recover. We will prevail over these tornadoes.
Signs of resilience many will need as they begin a long and difficult recovery. In the Update Center, Joe Henke, 2 News, works for you.
And this morning, a family in Dewey is coping with the loss of a loved one who died in the storms. 21-year-old Ryan Rickman was killed when a tree fell onto his car. He was just 15 miles from his Michigan home. And Ryan grew up here in Oklahoma before eventually moving to Michigan to live with his girlfriend. Ryan was in his 3rd year in school, taking online classes at Fort Scott Community College in Kansas, studying agriculture. And tomorrow marks 6 months since the devastating tornado in Moore. Join us as 2 News heads back to the community to show you how far they've come and how much more is left to do. It's a special day of reporting across all of 2 News platforms, and it begins on 2 News today, starting tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Frightening and incredible new video emerging from the Philippines as survivors try to put their lives back together. This video was captured by Tacloban's mayor and his photographer, who were caught in the eye of that storm. They say they had to punch their way through the ceiling and into the rafters. They watched as the water rises, bringing killer waves with it. And tomorrow, the USS George Washington is expected to leave the Philippines as soon as 2 other ships arrive on the island. The amphibious ships are much smaller than the George Washington, so they're able to get closer to the disaster areas.
And chaos breaks out as Toronto City Council members strip Mayor Rob Ford of his powers. The council voted to slash Ford's budget, and he's no longer chair of the executive committee, which means he has no legislative power. The meeting did get a little out of hand. Members of the public started chanting shame at Ford. The mayor gets frustrated, runs around the room, heads toward the angry crowd, nearly knocking over a female city councilor. As you can see, he does help her get back to her feet. Ford says it was an accident and he apologized. And happening today, in about an hour, Matt Lauer sits down with Mayor Ford in his first U.S. interview since admitting to using crack. Here's a sneak peek of that interview.
I just want to make sure we all understand. You're not in any alcohol treatment program?
No, I'm not in
any drug treatment
program. I have a weight issue. I've been training every day. All I can say, Matt, action speaks louder than words.
And you can catch the rest of that interview on the Today Show after 2 News today at 7 o'clock.
Should be rather entertaining to watch.
I would say so.
It will be.
6:06 now on your Tuesday morning. If you're headed out right now, probably need a light jacket. Not overly cold out there. If you live near Jinx Middle School, it's in South Tulsa near the Creek Turnpike, 51, near Highway 75, 51 at West Elementary Intermediate, and Muskogee at Whittier, 51. Coming up a little later, I'll have the latest on when you can expect much colder weather to mess up your weekend.
And developing right now in the Middle East, an embassy targeted in Beirut. We'll show you which one and the chaotic scene ongoing in that city.
Plus, our crews continuing to follow breaking news. Fire in an industrial area in Verdigris. A plant that makes oil field supplies goes up in flames. Live coverage straight ahead. You're watching 2 News Works for you today, 6:07. The scene is still chaotic this morning in Lebanon after a set of deadly explosions.
It happened several hours ago at the Iranian embassy in Beirut. Nearly 24 people, including a diplomat, are dead after 2 bombs went off. Iranian officials say their cultural attaché was among the casualties. More than 140 people were hurt in the twin blasts that went off in a neighborhood known to be a Hezbollah stronghold. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of your morning news and weather. Well, we've seen dozens of tornadoes like this one from far away, but one man risked his life to get a closer look at Sunday's twister that hit Washington, Illinois, and he lived to tell about it. Take a look at this video. You can see powerful winds tossing around debris as Chris Lancaster stands inside his home filming as the tornado destroys it. This is what his family has left. His family was in the basement as the twister passed. He only suffered 3 cuts to his eye. His wife says her dream home is destroyed, but she's happy they are alive.
Storm Shield weather, certified most accurate.
Sometimes we're asked if the weather is going to be a, quote, nice day or not. And today is basically going to be the last nice day you're going to enjoy for the week. We're going to see a mix of sun and clouds, and it will be breezy, but we'll be staying dry today. And temperature's not bad. We're going to see highs across eastern Oklahoma between 62 and 66 before we start going downhill later this week. Off to a dry start this morning. Viper 2 HD is not showing any rain across Tulsa County. Tomorrow morning at this time near sunrise, we are going to be seeing some areas of rain developing. So this is also the last dry day we're going to see for the work week. I do, however, want to point out there are some showers, some areas of light rain which have formed south of McAllister. The bulk of this rain, what there is of it, is in Texas, and this weak weather system is moving eastward into Arkansas, so it's not going to have a big impact on the Tulsa weather. However, we are seeing a mix of sun and clouds after sunrise. 30s, 40s, and 50s. We have the range of temps. We have 30 showing up in Bartlesville where it's 38, but the rest of us mostly 40s and lower 50s. 50 Muskogee, 45 Tahlequah, 49 Eufaula, 50 in Bristow, and 51 here in Tulsa. So 51 degrees. It's a cool morning, but not that bad out there. Dry for your morning commute, and a southeast wind at 10 miles an hour, so there is a bit of a breeze. If you have travel plans across the region, Taft has what you can expect today.
Yeah, and as we move through the latter parts of November, George, you start thinking about that cooler weather building in, but really temperatures are not too bad if you have any travel plans, especially here across the southern parts of the country. 60s, even some 70s across central and southern Texas. A little bit cooler as you head up to the Great Lakes and the New England states, but still not too bad. New York City today, 50 degrees and sunshine, not bad the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it looks like a quiet weather day and that, quote, nice day, which we're talking about. The futurecast is showing that we'll see some areas of clouds around today. Again, a mix of sun and clouds across eastern Oklahoma and the Tulsa area, but we are going to remain dry. So dry at 5 p.m. and if you have evening plans, still some clouds around, but the weather is still remaining dry. However, late tonight after midnight, we will see some light rain developing. This afternoon, mid-60s for highs. It's like what we saw yesterday, but there will be more wind today, and also the wind today from the southeast at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Upper 40s for the low tonight, rain developing after midnight. Your hourly weather will be in the 60s by lunchtime, so mild and breezy for you. 61 at noon, mid-60s this afternoon, then dipping down into the 50s by 8 p.m. this evening. Your 7-day forecast shows light rain developing tomorrow. We'll see rain chances tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, but it won't be a washout. Strong cold front arrives late Thursday, and you'll really notice the colder weather for Friday, as we'll see much colder temperatures. We're going to struggle just to reach 40 degrees for a high for you on Friday with the much colder weather moving on in. Then looking ahead toward your weekend, not much of a warm-up. It will be windy for both Friday and Saturday, only near 40 on Saturday, teens and 20s for lows, Sunday morning near sunrise.
And a big change in the weather coming in over the next couple of days, but no significant changes over the last few minutes with our traffic still in good shape. We're going to take a live look. This is at I-44. This is around the BA Expressway. Notice that traffic is picking up as expected here at the 6 o'clock hour. Those folks heading westbound with the headlights. So far, no accidents currently being reported in the city.
Well, even the Hamburglar is a bit shaken up this morning.
Because it's the end of the McDonald's dollar menu as we know it. Consumer reporter John Matarese tells us why the price of your fast food fix may be going up so you don't waste your money.
The rumors have been flying for months. Now they're finally true. McDonald's has changed its value menu, offering fewer items for $1. And you can bet other restaurants won't be far behind in following it.
If you haven't been to McDonald's in a few days, you may be in for a bit of a shock when you pull up to the drive-thru.
When did you change your dollar menu?
McDonald's everywhere have quietly changed their dollar menu to what's now the dollar menu and more. The emphasis on more. A McDouble, formerly $1, is now $1.19. Small fries were $1, now $1.19. And a double cheeseburger, $1.49. You can still get several items for $1, including a McChicken, ice cream cone, and sweet tea. But Burger Business Magazine says while exact prices vary by market, you now have to look harder to find the $1 items. And from the Doesn't That Stink file, some pricey surprises on the new dollar menu and more. A bacon McDouble is $2. A 20-piece McNugget is $5. $5 on the value menu? You might say, doesn't that stink? But CNN says McDonald's badly needs to boost revenues and says too many people buy only $1 items. The good news is you can still get a few things for $1, but with overhead, employee pay, and healthcare costs going up all the time, fast food restaurants have to pass along those costs at some point. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese.
If you have a question for John, you can email him. Just go to the Don't Waste Your Money section of KJRH on 2 News Today.
We continue to follow that breaking news out of Rogers County this morning, where a large industrial building is on fire. This is happening right now in an industrial park on a Ma Parkway, just west of Highway 66 between Claremore and Verdigris. 2 News reporter Joe Hankey is live on the scene. What's going on, Joe?
After a large fire, just was just telling you, broke out in this manufacturing building behind me here. I'm going to step out of the way so you can take a look. We're still seeing thick smoke come out of this building. Now, I'm told that firefighters are inside still actively fighting this fire. It's a manufacturing building, and that has caused some difficulties for them. A lot of objects in their way as they fight this fire. Early this morning, about 3:22, the call came in. Flames were coming out of the windows of this building. It was much bigger and visible at that time. Several fire crews are on the scene here from Verdigris, Claremore, Rolling Hills, and Catoosa. Also, the Roger County Sheriff's deputies are out here. Now, this building is for the company Upco, a manufacturing building. They make steel rods and other metal products for oil operations. This is a very large facility out here, about 140,000 square feet. Once again, it is for the company Upco here, just south of the Claremore area. We're out here live with this breaking news. We're going to continue to follow this. At this moment, I'm told they don't believe anyone was inside, so thankfully that means there should not be any injuries to report out here, but we're going to continue to follow this fire. Firefighters still inside, actively fighting the flames, I'm told, at this time, and they are having some difficulty, as I said, inside the building. They're moving around a lot of manufacturing equipment and debris that they're encountering as they fight this. Live near Claremore, Joe Hankey, 2 News works for you.
All right, thank you, Joe. The nation's largest bank will pay a big bill in the government's largest deal with the business. J.P. Morgan has agreed on a $13 billion settlement after mortgage securities collapsed and investors lost billions. The actual papers could be signed today. $6 billion will go to investors, $4 billion to struggling homeowners, and the rest is paid as a fine.
In a 2 News Today, consumer alert, sticking together to get big Black Friday deals. Whether you go online or to a store packed with shoppers, you may need help. FatWallet.com says to follow other savvy shoppers. Sign up for alerts and forums and blogs where people post on-the-spot deals and tips. FatWallet has a hot deals forum, and you may catch some on social media. It will take longer to get to Grandma's house, but it won't cost you as much. According to AAA, the busiest traffic day will be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But with low gas prices, you can keep a little more money in your pocket for Black Friday.
All right, back now to those live pictures from Verdigris, where an industrial fire continues to burn. This is the Upco plant, which makes oil field equipment. Again, 2 News reporter Joe Hankey still gathering more details. Watch for another live report in just minutes.
And later we go to Florida, where George Zimmerman in trouble again. He's in court today, just months after he was acquitted in the killing of Trayvon Martin. You're watching 2 News Works for you today, 621.
If you're headed out right now in the Tulsa area, we're in the lower 50s. It's dry and you can leave the umbrella at home. Right now, 51. Today's sunrise will be 7:06 as we look out over Jenks High School. And speaking of the football stadium and football, if you have weekend plans, it is going to look and feel like football weather. OU at K-State in the 20s. And the sun will be shining in the huge Oklahoma State Baylor game. 34 at kickoff in Stillwater, falling below freezing into the 20s throughout the game. So much colder weather later this week. Another nice warm up today. We'll see highs running into the mid 60s, which is like what we saw yesterday. If you're watching us from near Bristow and Sapulpa and Sand Springs, 64. Also 64 toward the Webbers Falls and Muskogee area, 65 McAllister, and lower 60s toward Grand Lake. Increasing light rain after midnight. We'll see some patches of light rain moving in from the west, and lows tonight will be dropping into the 40s, so cool, but certainly not overly cold tonight, though. It may feel colder with the rain nearby. It's now 6:25, and you're watching 2 News Works for you today.
Well, today, a special day here in the States. Thousands will pack a small town in Pennsylvania for the 150th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address. The celebration of Lincoln's famous speech is at Soldiers National Cemetery. This dedication day is also a celebration of a new start for 16 people. They'll be sworn in as U.S. citizens.
2 News Works for You starts right now.
And breaking news, fire at an industrial complex in Verdigris. We're there live.
Plus, looking for their parents, the hard job that Tulsa police have this morning after 2 children die in an apartment fire.
And how you can give blood to save a life today. Why the Oklahoma Blood Institute says it's especially important to give during the holidays. You're waking up to what's new on this Tuesday, November 19th.
Good morning, I'm Brianne Pomerini.
And I'm Justin Wilfon. We'll get to your traffic and weather in just a moment. First, though, some breaking news.
Fire at an industrial park on Alma Parkway just west of Highway 66 between Claremore and Verdigris. 2 News reporter Joe Hankey live on the scene to tell us what's happening.
We're following breaking news here near Claremore after a large fire broke out in this industrial building behind me. I'll step out of the way. You can still see a little bit of the flames right there. I'm told this fire is active inside of the building still. You can see those windows there burnt out. Earlier this morning, flames were rushing out of those windows there. Now, the call came in around 3:22 about this fire. Fire crews from 4 different cities have responded. Verdigris, Claremore, Rolling Hills, and Catoosa remain on scene out here, and as I said, still actively fighting that fire inside. Now, important to note that this is an industrial building. I'm told there's a lot of debris, a lot of equipment inside this building, and that's causing some problems for some of these firefighters, a lot of obstacles for them to get around as they're fighting this rather large fire inside. This is a 140,000 square foot facility, so a very large building. And this is for UPCO is the company. They manufacture steel rods and other metal products for oil operations. And as I said, this call came in at 3:22, so they've been fighting this fire for a matter of hours now. This is breaking news near Claremore. We're going to remain out here this morning, continue to track this for you. Important to note that this building, I'm told, was shut down for the evening when when they believe the fire broke out. So they don't think anyone was inside. No injuries to report at this time, but we'll continue to monitor that and give you any updates here on 2 News this morning. For the meantime, reporting live near Claremore, Joe Hankey, 2 News works for you.
All right, the time is now 6:31. If you enjoyed the weather yesterday, you'll probably also enjoy the temps today. Yesterday, we topped out at 65. We'll also see mid-60s for highs today, and kind of a cool start, but certainly not bad this morning. Mostly in the 40s and 50s, though we do have 30 showing up in Bartlesville, where it's 38, 43 Pryor, 45 Tahlequah, 50 Muskogee, and upper 40s toward Eufaula and McAllister. For your morning drive, it will be dry, though you'll notice some clouds around, and lower 50s, so a cool but not overly cold morning. By lunchtime, breezy and mild, warming to 61 degrees at noon.
That's a good start on your Tuesday morning. If you're heading out the door to work and school, the roads are in pretty good shape. Let's take a live look. This is around the BA Expressway near Sheridan. And again, that traffic is picking up. You notice Old Glory there starting to move a little bit as we're seeing breezier conditions, as George was saying. But so far, still not seeing any accidents being reported.
And 2 News keeping up with the latest overnight developments following an apartment fire that killed 2 little kids. And this morning, amidst the sadness and confusion, police search for the children's parents. 2 News reporter Patricia Santos live near 61st and South Lewis with more from police on how they lost track of them.
We'll get this, Brianne. Police telling us that the hospital released the parents without getting their contact information, and the management here at the London Square Apartments also telling police that they don't have any contact information for those parents either. Apparently, the unit that they were staying in was under someone else's name. But take a look. These are the charred remains following that fire that killed 2 little girls. The fire started around 3 Monday. Now, neighbors believe that the girls ages 5 years old and 18 months old were left alone inside the apartment. Neighbors tried to help at the sobbing mother as she tried to unlock the front door but dropped the keys in the hysteria.
I asked what was going on. She said, my babies are in there and I can't get the door open. And right then she dropped the keys. And me and 2 other guys told her to back up, and we rammed the door, got it open, and just waxed everything.
Their neighbors rushed in to find the children inside, but as fire crews were on their way, firefighters were seen giving the children CPR, but the girls died at the hospital. And I just got off the phone this morning with police. They tell us they still have not found the children's mother. They want to find her because they want to ask her what happened and who the children were left inside the apartment with. Live in South Tulsa, Patricia Santos, 2 News works for you.
And 2 News going in depth for you on this. This is not the first fire at London Square Apartments. In September, a dozen families were displaced following a cooking fire. Fortunately, no one was hurt that time. And we did get a spot check on the web overnight. One fire we found at London Square dates back to February of 2007. Several apartments were damaged that time, and many people were forced to live somewhere else.
Our comprehensive coverage of this latest fire continues online right now at KJRH.com. You can also check out our mobile app for updates as we work to bring you the very latest information.
All new this morning, the holiday season, a time for giving, but with our increasingly busy lives, one thing often goes unnoticed, the need for blood donations. The Oklahoma Blood Institute will be holding a blood drive to help keep the blood bank stocked through the holidays. Staff with OBI says this is the time of year when many people get out of their ordinary routine. Many preparing for the holidays, of course, perhaps battling a cold or flu and not able to donate.
Historically, nationwide, there are times of the year that we know needs a little extra help to ask people to remember that it only takes an hour to help save a fellow Oklahoman's life.
Sarah Wilson with OBI says all blood types are welcome right now. She stresses if you have O negative blood, you're a potential universal red blood cell donor, meaning you can save anyone's life. Today's blood drive will run from 9 this morning until 1 this afternoon at the Global Client Solutions parking lot. That's at 4500 South 129th East Avenue.
And new this morning, George Zimmerman heading to court today after a domestic violence incident. Investigators searched the home of Zimmerman's girlfriend overnight, searching for weapons they believe he stashed. 2 News now has that 911 phone call from yesterday.
You just broke my glass table, you just broke my sunglasses, and you put your gun in my freaking face and told me to get the out because this is not your house. No.
Zimmerman's girlfriend Samantha Sheeb says the argument had to do with him, and he allegedly pointed a long-barreled shotgun at her after her phone call to police. Zimmerman decided to call 911 as well. He claims she is pregnant with his baby and says she wanted to raise the child on her own.
I said, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" She said, "Yes." As soon as I started packing up my stuff to leave, she just completely changed.
Sheeb told police that she is not pregnant. Zimmerman is charged with aggravated assault, battery, and criminal mischief.
It's a Tuesday morning and the time is now 6:36. You're headed out right now. It's cool, but not that bad out there. We have 40s and 50s, and across Tulsa County, 51 near Woodland Hills Mall. That is at Thoreau Academy. And if you're watching us from Muskogee at Whittier Elementary, 51. Coming up next, I'll let you know how much colder your weekend plans will be.
And you're waking up to breaking news. As we've been reporting for the past hour, fire at Upco Incorporated in Verdigris. You're looking at live video where 2 News reporter Joe Hankey is on the scene gathering more details. He tells us the company makes oil field equipment, continuing live coverage throughout the morning.
Also ahead, waking up without a job after some pretty unusual behavior. How a high school basketball coach got a little too close to one of his players. You're watching 2 News Works for You today, 6:37.
Okay, if you haven't heard, the big weather story of the week will be a strong cold front arriving Thursday afternoon and Thursday night, and it's going to be shivering blue man type of weather as we move into the weekend. Just a cold blast of air moving on in. Friday looks cold and wet. Also, Thursday is looking cold and wet, but Friday cold and wet, most rain falling in the morning. Rain moves out of here for the weekend, but it will be breezy and cold, struggling just to get up to 40 on Saturday, and Sunday morning lows in the teens and 20s. So we'll just enjoy today's weather as it will be much milder. Right now we're in the lower 50s. We'll be in the 50s this morning, reaching 61 at noon and low to mid 60s this afternoon. So a nice warm up, a little breezy with a mix of sun and clouds. It's now 6:40 and you're watching 2 News Works for You today.
The very latest now on breaking news we've been telling you about all morning. Fire at an industrial park just west of Highway 66 between Claremore and Verdigris. 2 News reporter Joe Hankey there live with an update on what he's learned so far. Joe?
remain out here near Claremore, where a large industrial fire has broken out. And the latest out here is just off to the left here, the main entrance. Fire crew after fire crew keeps coming in and out as they are continuing to actively fight this fire inside the building, I'm told. Now, earlier this morning, large windows on the front of this building, fire gushing out of those windows, as this was a very fully involved large fire at this industrial building for the company Upco. It's a large manufacturing business run out of Claremore. Here they make metal and steel products for the oil industry. Now, the call came in around 3:22. We have 4 different fire crews out here: Catoosa, Claremore, Vertegra, and Rolling Hills. All 4 responded out here. We also have Roger County Sheriff's deputies. Now, this fire, as I was saying, was rather large this morning when it did break out. Fortunately, it seems like this plant was shut down for the evening when that call came in, so no one was inside the plant. They believe they have no injuries to report at this time. We'll remain out here this morning to continue to monitor the fire here and to make sure that, in fact, there was no one inside. There's no injuries to report. But for right now, live near Claremore, Joe Henke, 2 News works for you.
Thanks, Joe. It's going to be a long road to recovery for dozens of communities across the Midwest after Sunday's deadly storms.
Ann Kelly from our Scripps station in Indianapolis is in the hard-hit town of Lafayette this morning with what the National Weather Service is now saying about those storms.
I'm Ann Kelly, live in Tippecanoe County, Indiana, which the National Weather Service has now confirmed was hit by an EF3 tornado. We're talking winds up to 136 miles per hour on Sunday, the strongest tornado of 23 to hit the state on Sunday. A number of schools still canceling classes now for the 2nd day in a row, including the one behind me. This is Southwestern Middle School in Lafayette, Indiana. You can see this building destroyed by high winds, and we're learning it could be up to a year before students are let back inside. We've also learned overnight that the thousands of people still in the dark this morning may have to wait through tomorrow afternoon to have power restored. A lot happening here in Indiana. Hoosiers still trying to pick up the pieces. And again, the big update that we have this morning is that all the damage was caused by as many as 23 tornadoes that swept through the state. Back to you.
Storm Shield weather, certified most accurate.
6:46 the time now on your Tuesday morning. We have one more quiet and pleasant day. Today we'll see highs back in the 60s, and then for late Thursday through Sunday, the weather basically going downhill for your outdoor plans as we'll be turning much colder. Wednesday through Friday, we'll be tracking areas of rain as well across eastern Oklahoma. Now, I do want to point out there are a few small showers this morning south of Tulsa, just a few sprinkles south of McAllister down along the Red River. This is with a weak weather system, which is working its way through Texas, and it's moving mainly into Arkansas. So even though there's some light rain south of Tulsa, it's not going to get anywhere close to Tulsa. Mainly today, you're just going to notice a mix of sun and clouds. So even though it may kind of look like rain at times, our weather today should be staying dry. Another thing you're also going to notice today is that we're going to see more wind. Right now we have a southeast wind. This map shows the direction the wind is coming in from. So a southeast wind near 10 miles an hour in Tulsa. The wind will get stronger after sunrise, and it will be a breezy day today. Right now, just before sunrise, kind of the prettiest part of the morning. You can see the sky changing color there as we look toward downtown. 51 the temp and a southeast wind at 10 miles an hour. The air is still fairly dry. And for an update on other temperatures around eastern Oklahoma, here's Taft.
Yeah, you know, we're starting off mild this morning, George, with those temperatures in the 40s and 50s. So if you're heading out the door to work and school, pretty good conditions. Maybe you're heading out for an early morning walk. If you don't have to go to work today, you're in good shape as well. It's cool as 42 in Veneta and Pryor, 41 in Inola, 43 in Westville. But we're at 51 degrees currently in Cookson, 46 in 4 Acre. And as we head into southeast Oklahoma, it's a mix of 40s and 50s as well. We're at 51 at Webbers Falls, 48 in Wilburton, 50 this morning in Holdenville.
Yeah, good looking start to the day. Thank you, Taft, for that. Here's what you can expect for this afternoon. The wind increasing. It will be a breezy day, and the wind today from the southeast. This area of gray showing the clouds moving into eastern Oklahoma. Again, a few showers towards southern Oklahoma this morning, but this afternoon the weather will be dry across the state. Then tomorrow for Wednesday will be another breezy day, and we'll see some areas of rain developing both tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. So increasing rain for tomorrow. Today we'll see highs in the mid-60s and the breeze coming in from the southeast at 10 to 20 miles an hour. Your hourly weather, 50s this morning, then rising into the 60s by the PM hours. Breezy and mild with a mix of sun and clouds. The 7-day forecast, showers often on tomorrow. Not a washout. Hit and miss rain for Wednesday. Cold front arrives late Thursday, then much colder for your weekend. Struggling just to get up to near 40 for a high. Sunday morning the coldest with teens and lower 20s for lows.
And over the next couple of mornings, that morning commute could see a little bit of rainfall out there, but not this morning. We're starting off dry. As we're going to take a live look, this is at the Tisdale Expressway. Notice those folks heading on in from the north side. As we're seeing a little bit of traffic there, the good news is we're still continuing to not see any accidents currently being reported in Tulsa.
There's new information coming into the newsroom right now that a group with links to al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility for that deadly twin bombing in Beirut earlier today. At least 23 people were killed when the explosions went off near the Iranian embassy. Iran's cultural attaché is among the dead. More than 140 people were hurt in those blasts.
One man is dead this morning after a gunman attacks the driver of a truck carrying NATO supplies, then sets it on fire. The driver was killed near the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan. No one has claimed responsibility, but the Taliban has attacked NATO supply trucks in the past. And a man known as the father of the Taliban says he supports stopping NATO supply trucks.
In Haiti, a protest against their president turns violent. Thousands are tear gassed when protesters lit tires and trash on a busy capital street. Police tried to spread out the crowd, and that's when they fired that gas. Crowds were complaining about everything from the cost of living to corruption.
A high school basketball coach isn't going to work this morning. He also isn't facing any charges after allegations he attacked a player. He resigned and is accused of biting one of his players in the face. The girl says the coach grabbed her by the shirt and pulled her close to him. The senior had to be taken to the hospital, but the family isn't pressing any charges right now.
The NFL in a bit of trouble with fans this morning. NFL execs knew bad weather was coming into Chicago Sunday, yet the Bears started their game anyway. And you can obviously see the torrential downpour turned the stadium brown and made things a little muddy on the field. More than a few people in the Windy City still shaking their heads this morning as to why the game was still played.
Also under fire, an Alabama high school team. The school apologized for cheerleaders hanging a banner saying, quote, "Get ready to leave in a trail of tears," end quote. Now, the team played a team called the Indians. Right now, cheerleaders are being disciplined for the sign, recalling the forced removal of Native Americans.
This morning, a teenager will be sentenced for the horrific murder of a 10-year-old girl. The Colorado team pled guilty to the killing and dismembering of that girl last year. Since he was 17 at the time, he cannot get life without parole. He must be eligible for parole after serving 40 years.
And the sentencing continues for a Pennsylvania minister convicted of disobeying his vows. The church trial decides if he will be stripped of his powers after he officiated the wedding of his gay son. Now, the trial could have been over for the minister if he agreed not to perform any more gay marriages, but he refused. Other ministers have been suspended for the same reason, but this could turn out differently since it was his son's wedding.
Well, some say it's the late-term abortion capital of America. Today, Albuquerque voters will vote on just that, whether to allow abortions after 20 weeks. It's believed to be the first vote like this in the country and is watched as a new front for activists to bring the fight to a city level instead of state and federal.
And stay with us this morning. The time now 6:52. The headlines are next.
And another live picture of that burning industrial fire in Rogers County. Our 2 News reporter working on bringing you the very latest information. Another live report next on 2 News Today.
Good morning. Straight ahead on Today, Toronto's embattled mayor sits down with us just hours after being stripped of most of his power during a very heated city council meeting this morning. Why Rob Ford refuses to step down, in his own words.
Also ahead, George Zimmerman back in jail, this time accused of assaulting his girlfriend. You'll hear their dueling calls to 911.
Then a rare interview with the woman who took one of the most famous photos of JFK's assassination, the only one showing both the president's car and the grassy knoll.
Plus, the touching story of twin sisters, both diagnosed with breast cancer, and the remarkable way they are helping each other heal. It's all when we get started on a Tuesday morning right here on Today.
We continue to follow that breaking news out of Rogers County this morning, where a large industrial building is burning. 2 News reporter Joe Hankey reporting live there for the last hour. He's back now with what he's learned in just the past few minutes. Joe?
That's right, Justin. I just got done talking to the Verdigris fire chief out here. He gave me the latest information on this fire. I'm going to step out of the way here. There are still some fire crews on scene here as they're actively fighting this fire inside still. Now, when I talked to the fire chief, he said that they were able to contain this fire, even though it was rather large, to just office spaces, an IT department, and one of the manufacturing portions of this facility. But the largest part of the facility, I'm told, only has smoke damage. There is damage to it, but only smoke damage. So this plant is going to be shut down for the remainder of today and the foreseeable future. I also talked to directors with UPCO, the plant manager and HR department here. They told me that they will be shut down, but they're going to be up soon here, operating once again. They do have damage. They said it's unfortunate, but they are happy, as the fire chief told me. No one was inside, so no injuries to report out here. So that is the good news here. Right now, live in Claremore, Joe Henke, 2 News Works for you.
And we're going to take a check of your traffic, and we're in pretty good shape out there this morning. We're seeing quite a bit of cloudiness out there, but no rain. Good news. We're going to take a live look at I-44, and this is around the BA Expressway. And you notice that traffic is picking up, but still no accidents in the city.
Today is the last dry day we'll see of the work week. No rain showing up this morning in Tulsa County. Tomorrow morning, however, we will see some areas of light to moderate rain developing. So out of the bus stop today, probably don't need a big jacket this morning, though it is a little breezy out there. Lower 50s at 7:30, warming into the mid 60s this afternoon. The 7-day forecast, light to moderate rain tomorrow, rain and thunderstorms on Thursday. Then during the day Thursday, strong cold front moving on in, and you'll really notice the colder weather by Thursday night, Friday, and into the weekend, as highs are barely going to try and nudge the lower 40s for Friday, Saturday. Sunday morning looks like the coldest of the bunch.
Very cold. We're back at 7:25 with another live update on that industrial fire in Verdigris.
Remember, 2 News always on at KJRH.com and on our mobile apps. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.